Morning. Okay, you guys, welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate group coaching for tonight, Monday, April 8th. All right, tonight we are going to be talking about social media. Love it, hate it, have to deal with it. And I know that officially the topic for tonight was, becoming a storyteller with a twist. And I thought, I'm gonna apply that to social media because social media is like telling a story with no real beginning and no real end. And it's something that you have to continually do for your business. So before I get into this tonight, I want to mention something that happened today that was timely and relevant um, for one of my clients, a newer client that I'm onboarding. And this is an entrepreneur, a multipreneur. He owns multiple businesses. He's been in business for a long time, and sells a bunch of different products. And his foundation for his business is an absolute mess. And when I say a mess, I mean it's like he doesn't know where his domain is purchased or where his website is hosted or what his website is built on or how to access the email or how to update the records or any of the back end information. And I'm mentioning this like not to throw this guy under the bus, but like imagine like an analogy here. Like imagine I don't know, like you want to have a great skincare routine or something, right? And you're like, all right, well, I need to have face wash, and I need to have lotion, and I need to have a toner, and I need to have all these like products, right? In order to like have a healthy face. Well, same thing with your business. Like you need to have like the right assets. And you can't just have like, if this was my medicine cabinet, like I can't just have all these empty, like, or not empty, I can't have all these labelless bottles, right? I'd have to know like which one's the shampoo or which one's a face wash or which one's a moisturizer. And like he just doesn't know what he has or where it is or how they work together. And it's an absolute mess. So we're sorting through it and we're helping him with this. And I'm saying this because I feel like you guys, you're all entrepreneurs, you all have your businesses, and hopefully this isn't an issue for you. Hopefully you have got things sorted out. So at the very least, you should have these answers to these questions. And I was actually thinking I'm going to put a worksheet in the back end of Yes that you can fill in the blank, like a master setup guide for your business. Like all these different Q's and A's that any service provider that would ever help you, just like you have a brand guidelines, right? For your logo and your colors and your fonts, you need to have these basic fundamentals for how your business is built. So that's something that I'm going to be adding. So anyways, I just felt like that was a good service announcement, that a good reminder that everybody needs to know. So with that being said, now we're going to talk about storytelling, and we're going to talk about storytelling in the world of social media. So you guys are getting actually a little bit of a sneak peek on this because I actually was asked to give this presentation to the SBA. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the SBA. It's an arm of the government that helps small businesses. And I do a lot of consulting for them. And so I'm going to be giving this, you guys are going to see part of this presentation that I'm actually giving to them later this month. So I'm going to start with this little interactive exercise for you guys. So if you think about the social media mix, right? I want you guys to start thinking about which platforms are right for which part of the story that you're going to be telling for your brand, right? So let's look at 5 different things that you could do on social media. So there's live video, right? Like when would you use live video? It could be a behind the scenes look. It could be a Q&A. And we should also be thinking, by the way, like, and I think I put it in the video before this call tonight to get everybody thinking, you should be trying to do a live video for your business at least once a week. Maybe it's updates on inventory. Maybe it's updates on like an interview that you're giving or some sort of like Q&A or behind the scenes that you're doing. So then on the next slide, I'm going to ask you guys like which platform should you be going live on? So think about that knowing that I'm going to ask you in a minute. Okay. You've got memes, which kind of funny. And, there's still a time and a place for static visuals, and images, and think about where the might be the right places for these. You've got professional articles, right? Like this is maybe like a blog or a thought leadership piece. Which platform would you put this on? Would you put it on all the platforms, right? Where would it make the most sense? You've got user generated content. Are you asking people in your network or in your community to generate content on your behalf? Are you engaging with them and making them a part of the conversation? If you are, what platform are you posting this on, right? I mean, this is a story. You're telling a story about your brand across multiple platforms with multiple ways to do it. And then this last one, hang on, this is in my way. An interactive poll or quiz. You know, where are you using this as one of your storytelling tools? Okay, so now let's see if we can answer some of these. I'm going to make you kind of interactive. All right, so raise your hand or put it in the chat. Like, I'd love to know, like, where do you think a live video would best be served? And there could be more than one answer, by the way. Oh, I see something coming through in the chat. Instagram, yes. Instagram and YouTube, love it, yes. So for now, for me, I put Instagram and Facebook, but I think Anthony has a really good point, and I think that YouTube should be added to this. So when you go live on these platforms, the algorithm really serves you well. And it generates more buzz because if you look at, we're going to do a deeper dive in a minute to talk about the algorithm of each platform as well. But these are a little bit more of like a traditional algorithm of it's serving you up people and people that you know. But I like this on YouTube, and I'm going to make this amendment because the goal with all of our YouTube channels, if we're creating regular content, eventually should be able to monetize our YouTube channels. And I don't know if I've done a presentation on monetization of YouTube. I will put something on the back end of a guide of how to make your YouTube a monetized platform. So there's absolutely different check marks like that you need to hit in order to make that happen. So I will add that. Thank you. Good point. All right. So the meme, where do we think the meme should go? And while you guys are thinking about and typing your answers for the meme, I'm going to answer the question about the vertical and the horizontal preferences for YouTube. So for going live on, let's say on YouTube, horizontal is absolutely fantastic. Great. But YouTube Shorts, if you are uploading videos that are on like 60 seconds or under, those are vertical. So that's the division there. Okay, I love all the guesses here for the memes. This is fantastic. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Okay. All right. So for the memes, Twitter, I know it's X, but I still call it Twitter. And Instagram. And here's the interesting thing, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is that Twitter is a great place. And I think if you've watched the video today, you saw this. It's a great place to try out your content. Because you can post up there 3 times, 4 times a day, as many as you want. And then depending on which one performs better, you can almost use that as a live A/B test. And then the one that does the best, you could put it up on your Instagram or on your Facebook. And you might be thinking, I don't have time for this, Rach, but don't worry. There's a plan. Stick with me. All right. So professional articles, where do we want to put those? Think about that one. Absolutely. Yes. Those should go on LinkedIn. 1000%. That's the right place. So, bear with me here for a quick second. Please hold. All right. Thank you. Thank you for holding. All right. Next. All right. User generated content or, these types of challenges. Where would you put these? Dun, 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 dun. Yes. All right. These are fantastic for Instagram. These are great for TikTok. Now I see a typo here. So that is something I'm going to have to fix. See, you guys are getting my first go through here. But these are great for user generated content. And as we'll talk about in a couple minutes, you'll see that because the algorithm with TikTok is more of an exploratory place, this is a great way to get other users in front of your brand. Oh, admit. All right. So now what about interactive polls and quizzes? I bet you guys can probably guess. Yes, this is great for Instagram. This is great for X. Especially with stories, right? This is where you want to put your stories. You want to ask people their opinion. You want to get them engaged. Okay. So I know that, social media is like that story that has no beginning, it has no end. It changes all the time. So, what I would have presented on social media a year ago is going to be very different than what I'm presenting today. And that's going to be very different from a year from now, right? So always, make sure that you're considering your audience and your objectives before you start just posting. Okay, admit. All right, so now I want to do a deeper dive with you guys on the best practices for the different social media platforms. So, as you know, like I'm a big proponent of batch content creation, and I'm a big proponent of scheduling your content out in advance. So, with that being said, I also want to share some of these categories. So, posting frequency, like how often should you be posting on Facebook? When should you be posting? Remember, like a few years ago, it was like, oh, like if you're going to post on Facebook, it should be at 9:15 in the morning, right? Like that was the rule. Well, now it's like, well, who's your audience? It should be more custom to them. When is your audience online? And then the type of algorithm. So with Facebook, it's a very traditional algorithm. It's visible to your connections. These are your people that you already know that are in your life. That may or may not be your target audience for your business. So it might not matter to be posting 1 to 4 times per week. If your audience isn't really there and it's just family and relatives, it doesn't really matter. Your hashtags on Facebook don't really matter. And then best performing content, videos, and photos. All right. And then there is like that option for the live on Facebook too. Let's see, what was I going to say here? Oh, ads. A lot of people ask me, like, should we have Facebook ads? Remember when you're talking about meta ads, meta, most of the time, you're going to want Facebook and or Instagram, depending on your audience. If they're older, if they're people but ads is a good way to build your audience outside of the traditional algorithm. And if you want to spend money on ads, make sure that you're doing all these other things first. You don't just start spending money on ads. And by the way, I don't think I've shared this with a lot of you. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to switch to another one because I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. I love this tool that Facebook offers for free. And I think you guys should all look at this because it will allow you the opportunity to see what ads your competitors are running. So let's say I was a local coffee company. I could put in Starbucks, but I also could put in any other coffee company that was running ads in this. And I'll put this in the chat so you guys have the URL. And you can use this for free. It basically gives you access to the Meta library. So right now I'm showing Starbucks, but I could also put in like, I don't know, what is like the ads that Kohl's is running, right? And it's going to show me the ads. These are the ones that launched in April. These are the ones down here that launched the month before. It'll go all the way back in time. There's November, right? And it'll show you how those ads did. So if you're thinking about making ads or you're thinking about making more content for Meta,
this is a really great resource. I mean, I like to look and see like what's Nike running, right? Like what are they promoting in April, right? So how are they doing it? So that's a great resource that's free. I love giving you guys free tools that you can use. So now we're going to go back to our presentation, and we just looked at a deep dive into kind of Facebook. So now let's look at Instagram. You guys are all seeing this? Can I get a thumbs up? Cool. Okay. Um, you want to post a little bit more frequently on Instagram. This is 1 to 7 times a week. Again, the time of day doesn't really matter. It's when your audience is online. So traditional, like if you do a traditional post, it's gonna go in your feed and it's gonna be served up to a traditional type of algorithm audience. But your reels are more easily discoverable. So keep that in mind if you want to get in front of more people. Hashtags are relevant and definitely help. And then you know the video length with Instagram, they've changed it a lot over the last year, whether it's 30 to 50, 15 to 30 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, up to 60 seconds, up to 3 minutes, depending on how many followers you have. You can get up to 10 minutes. So, but I mean, short and sweet is really like still the sweet spot for them. um you still want to get people's attention early. Having an aesthetic feed does still matter, so kind of keep that in mind. And then TikTok. I know that there's a lot of controversy around TikTok. The algorithm was really a game changer because it's a discovery algorithm. It's getting you in front of people that you don't know. And that's why a lot of people have found a lot of success, in terms of what they were talking about or what they were selling. Um, you don't need a lot of hashtags. You just need to get people's attention with like a hook. This is where the hooks came in. Let me know if you guys want like a list of hooks. I have a list of hooks that you would use at the beginning of your videos to like get people's attention. Now, something interesting that's happening with TikTok right now is they are really pushing towards longer form videos. They're trying to compete with YouTube more than they're trying to compete with Instagram or Facebook. So um, they're really trying to encourage longer videos. Um, I haven't really seen a, that make a big difference, but I know that that is where the algorithm is pushing. So if you're doing longer form content, TikTok will serve you and serve you up more often if you're doing that. Um, Always encourage people, by the way, at the end of your TikTok videos to like and engage and follow. That is definitely like part of the culture, and it's okay to ask for that. Ask for what you want people to do at the end of your videos. Okay. So YouTube, once a week is absolutely fine. If you wanted to do more, that's up to you. Maybe if you're going to do YouTube Shorts, right now, YouTube Shorts are getting a lot of favorable support from the algorithm. Now, what that means is that if you post like a 3-minute video or a 5-minute horizontal traditional video, it might do okay. But if you post a 60-second, it's funny because they're going for shorter stuff and TikTok's trying to go for longer stuff. So it's like they're all cannibalizing each other. But YouTube right now is really favoring the shorts. So it'll get served up to more people. And they really I would really like to see you guys have consistent content on YouTube, because once you have a certain number of followers and a certain number of hours watched, then you can start monetizing your YouTube channel in a way that the other platforms don't offer. So that is a tutorial that I will send you all after this call, and I'll put on the back end of the platform. So there's that. Oh, the other thing about YouTube is now for shorts, it's going to automatically give you a YouTube cover. You can't pick it. But for the longer form videos, once you're a verified user, you can do a custom video cover, and having a custom cover does help. And it does draw in more audience people to watch your content. So I would highly recommend having a custom cover. The white outline is very popular right now. Big bright call to actions are very popular right now. This can help accelerate your growth. So keep that in mind. All right. LinkedIn. Remember, this is where the thought leadership pieces are going. This is where your blogs are going, 1 to 7 a week. I think 1 is perfectly fine. Weekdays, business hours, like this is your business community. It's very traditional. You're going to engage with people, or you're going to engage through groups that you belong to. A couple hashtags is totally fine. You really want to be providing value here. So it's not like one size fits all across all the different platforms. As you're telling this story about your brand, you need to be telling a little bit of a different story on each platform so that it's relevant to your content, your contacts, and that they're able to engage with it in a way that's valuable and meaningful to increase your business. So, my least favorite personal platform is Pinterest. It just doesn't really serve me in any of my clients, but I know that it's something that it's still out there and a lot of people really like it. So I felt like I couldn't exclude it. But I think you've got a niche for Pinterest, kind of like you have a niche for like Etsy or something. It's all about like curating these boards. Maybe if you were like an interior designer, this would be a relevant business for you. But I think for the most part, like this is not where the majority of us have our target customers hanging out. So I wouldn't worry about it too very much. Okay. Now, sorry, you guys, I forgot to talk about, how could I forget? Twitter, X. All right. So, 4 to 10 times a day, really like overdoing. There is no overdoing it. Like it doesn't take a lot to post on there. It can be just words or it could be graphics. It's short, it's sweet. Feel free to like bombard the platform. They love it. Use those trending hashtags, follow, engage with other people, hop on the bandwagon of like what's going on in society or in culture at the time. You know, it's really kind of a free for all. But whatever you take from here or whatever is garnering interest on here, you can then use it to probably engage with your customers in a more authentic and genuine way on Instagram or on Facebook, or on YouTube where they really are spending more dedicated time. This is more like newsworthy, trend-worthy stuff. So there you go with X. Gotta have it. Okay. All right. I shared the Facebook thing so that you guys are able to look up competitor ads. Now I want you guys to think about like any brands that that have successfully leveraged their content for lead generation on social media. Like how are brands, which ones can you think of that has successfully told a story on social media? I want to know, like, from your point of view, like who jumps to the top of your mind? Got my chat coming in here. Okay. Alex Hermosi, Grant Cardone, Elon Musk. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm glad that somebody brought up Elon Musk because I love to use him as an example with Tesla because he did a brilliant job, whether it was on purpose or not, that combining that personal brand and um the company brand together and then leveraging those and the balance between the two, that built a lot of brand equity and a lot of brand trust with customers. So I want you to think about that in reference to your own brand. How can you leverage your company and your personal brand and have them work in complement in a way that Elon Musk did with Tesla, right? I think, Elon Musk in his example, I think he used, obviously he used Twitter or X, right, to create a lot of like buzz and interest and a lot of tweets about like the new vehicles or like new features for the cars, like, to generate buzz. And, this kind of demonstrated the power of combining personal branding with, corporate marketing on social. So, think about how you can sort of do that with your brand too. And I'm going to go back to the chat here. All the top network marketers maximize all these platforms. Rod, jump in and talk about that a little bit. I'd love for you to dive into that.
Well, first, before I go in on that a little bit, I want to know if things have changed a little bit with reposting. I know that there were some real different standards for reposting certain content. You used to have to ask permission to repost, but if you got those permissions, you could actually, supercharge your own. You could take something that someone else was using and was going viral, and you could repost it and take credit for that if you had their permission. And I don't know if that's changed. I know I went to a seminar 3 years ago, and people were really leveraging reposting to boost their engagement. So do you know anything about that recently? I saw the only one in your presentation here was X for reposting.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So something that's happening with the it's by platform, really, because like if you look at TikTok, for instance, it'll ask you when you post if you want to allow people to like mix or oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Hang on, I need to borrow this real quick. Sorry, hang on. You guys know what I'm talking about? You've seen that stitch, that's what they call it, stitch or mix. And as long as something is posted and that is enabled, then you can do it. It could be a video from The Rock or J-Lo or whatever, and you are allowed to mix with it as long as they've enabled that. So every platform is a little bit different, but unless you're a big multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar company, I haven't heard of any individual people being like come after for like copyright infringement or anything like that. They're not really gonna, it's still relatively the Wild West of that space.
Well, I like the Wild West sort of thing, because I always like do what you have to and then beg for forgiveness, as long as it's not going to be costly.
Yeah.
So network marketers, I don't know if some of you know, she's passed away now, but Boss Lee, she was phenomenal with network marketing, and she was the top female money earner in all network marketing across the board. And that was Lee Ward. And she was known as Boss Lee. That was her handle. But she was on every platform, and she was ahead of the curve. She really set the standard. But the top, when you're looking at, 7-8 figure earners in network marketing, they all leverage every single one of these. Everything that you have just outlined, they were doing on every platform. Now, keep in mind, they have staff to help build that content, and they're building it out every day. And so they've got, a dossier, for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and X and LinkedIn. But they started somewhere. They all started somewhere. And interestingly enough, every one of them that I'm familiar with has actually ventured outside their network marketing, which earned them their name and their income. And they are now doing speaking engagements, which is what Grant Cardone is. He's aligned actually several of the people like Pete Vargas, Eric Worre. A lot of these people started off in network marketing, and now they're on the speaking tour and the business building and coaching tours. So, it was network marketing was like a launch pad, but their use of social media absolutely triggered their success in these other areas. So I've not mastered it, and I was a latecomer to all of this, being the old person here. So I think I just had my 3-year anniversary on Instagram and Facebook. So that just happened. So I am really a neophyte, but know that I had to have a presence. If I'm going to be relevant in the future, even though I don't have a need to be relevant in the future, if I want to have any relevancy or a legacy at all, I have to start mastering these things and not just being on them, but mastering them. So your content tonight is invaluable, Rachel. So that's, again, we have to get the basics down. And social media is part of the basics. I guess that's my overall takeaway from the network marketing industry.
So I have a funny little slide that I think I should share with you guys. And this is my donut exercise. I've been doing this exercise for like, I don't know, as long as social media has been around. So it feels like 10 years. I don't know. I mean, you guys probably have seen this, or maybe it's just me, but I love this. Like each platform, but like, let's just keep it really simple. Like donuts, right? Like Twitter, like I'm eating a donut. Facebook, I like donuts. At the time, Foursquare, what I feel like, that's not really relevant anymore. See, I told you I've been using this one a long time. Instagram, here's a photo of my donut. YouTube, watch me eat a donut. But there was a time when it was like, we knew this, but everybody was like, screw it. I'm just going to put the same content on all the different platforms. Like, I don't have time for this. Well, I'm telling you, it's more important now than ever that we actually start talking to people differently on the platforms. We actually start engaging, because genuine engagement is what is going to be happening next in social media. The comments are going to be less important. The DMs are going to be more important. Those direct messages, genuinely connecting with people, being an important, nano influencer in your community is more important than a macro influencer across the masses. So, start thinking about how you're talking about your business on the different platforms. Okay. Now, since I'm still in the driver's seat tonight, I kind of teased this YouTube partner program, how to make your YouTube profitable for you, how to monetize it. I'm going to show you guys this and walk you through it, because it is a very, very valuable tool with a checklist. And I like for you guys to have these kinds of things. So they call it the YouTube partner program, by the way. You have to, and there are like rules like that you have to, and I feel like they don't tell you the rules. You really have to kind of know what they are. So no guideline strikes. All right. So play nice, right? You have over 4,000 watch hours. So before you can monetize, you have to have 4,000 watched hours. That could mean like, if you're putting out a live every week, you're recording maybe a blog or a podcast or something, like people are going to have to be watching your content a lot. You have to have an AdSense account on your YouTube account. So if you don't know what that is, like look that up and figure that out. Have at least 1,000 subscribers. That's why it's important to always ask people like, follow, subscribe, be a part of my community. Encourage people to leave you comments, write them back, and then sign the partner program terms. Okay. So how to apply, like very simple, six steps. And here's also the steps to how to set up your AdSense account in case you don't know how to do that. So I will brand this for yes, and I will put it on the back end. And then if you're like, hey, Rach, like, how am I going to grow on YouTube? Like here's some ideas to try to get your watch hours up and to try to get your subscribers up. So here's some tips. And then here is a checklist to make sure that you don't miss any of the steps. And this is just a repeat of what I just said, but sometimes it's nice to have a checklist. And then, you might be thinking, okay, like, great, like these are the steps, but like, give me like break it down a little bit further. Like it's overwhelming to try to think I have to do it all today or I have to do it all this week. Like give yourself 6 months. Say, okay, like in 6 months, I want to be profitable and monetize my YouTube. Great. Here's the steps. And let's say this is what I'm going to do every month for the next 6 months in order to make that happen. So you've set a goal and these are like, this is what I would do if I were you to get this to happen. So, like I said, I will give this to you guys. And then you know, I like to batch my content creation. I like to have a plan. What am I going to be talking about? What's my content creation schedule? What is all that going to look like? So, none of this happens on accident. The story that you're telling about your brand across all these platforms, like it needs to be consistent and it needs to be on brand, which is something I repeat, I feel like all the time. So, I don't know, Rod, if you want to jump on in with anything else to ladder on to any of that.
Yeah, the one thing I'm going to highlight this again, once you start getting into this, the DM, and you mentioned this, Rachel, but I'm going to emphasize it. Being engaged with the people that are following you, being engaged with the followers, is absolutely instrumental. And again, it's no surprise that the network marketers, the 7-8 figure earners in network marketing, because that's what they do. They engage with people. They are your frontline sales people, right? They understand the people business. And on all of these platforms, the one thing that they maximized to launch them forward in their success was they engaged with their followers, and they did it on the DMs. I mean, every day they answered, and they didn't have the most successful ones did not have staff answering the DMs. They answered the DMs, and that was the key to their success. So it's one of those things. If you want business to be personal, you need to be personal. You don't get to just pawn all of that off to an agency or someone else. No one can speak for your product or your business the way you can. And so although it might be tempting to outsource some of that stuff, as much as you can control and do on your own is going to be helping you succeed. So that's where the effort needs to be put in, that personal engagement and follow-up. And other than that, you've covered. You've given us so much to think about. I'm looking forward to printing out all the stuff. I've screenshotted every single one of these, and now it's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Take it to next level.
Well, and I love that somebody, typed in Alex Hormozi. I mean, I think a lot of us, are enjoying his content and are following him and cheering him on, really. I think he's done a really nice job of coming at his content creation, not only with some words of wisdom, but from a very humble place. It reminds me of kind of like how The Rock also kind of comes at things from a very humble place. But that did not come without a lot of very hard work and consistency and discipline. I mean, a lot of those Andy Frisella style things that, are taught that we all practice. So a lot of reps, right? A lot of practice. So yes, I love David Meltzer. That's another great one to mention. By the way, if anyone is going to be in Las Vegas near the end of this month, 25th, 26th, David is filming I think it's season 6 of his Office Hours show at the Wynn, and I will be there that Thursday afternoon and that Friday. If anyone happens to be in the area or wants to stop by, see me or see David, or any of the people in the green room, it's really an amazing, electrifying energy of people that are all hustling, that are best at what they do. So, and a lot of fantastic people have been on that show. Jim Quick is coming out in this new episode for this season that is like launching now over the next, I think, an episode a week for the next few weeks. So, and Gary Vee, another great example, right? So, this tribe of people that all kind of are operating on the same energy frequency. They're genuine, they're humble, they're service oriented, they're telling a story about their business that is relatable and authentic, and they've put in the reps. So now they're able to delegate some of this, and they're able to have a team of people to help them, but they've been there. Andy Frisella has been working the retail counter selling his supplements before he was, running First Form in the way that we all know it today, right? So everybody kind of starts somewhere. So I love, like, I think Anthony, by the way, did you go by Anthony or do you go by Tony, or it's Anthony, right? Okay. I mean, it's the lawn care business, right?
It's a lawnmower repair.
Ah,
And it's only residential.
but I mean, I'm gonna love to look back and be like 10 years from now, like where you started versus where it's gone. Like I have like great confidence in that,
Hey,
right?
I
Like,
even look back 10 years from today and think like, wow, it's crazy.
yeah. So,
Thank
our businesses, it's like anything, you build it correctly the first time. You do those tools that I talked about at the beginning of the call today. You know where your domain is, you know where your website is built, you know how to access your email. My God, right? Like I can't believe some of these people don't have that figured out. But you have to have those things. Then you can ladder on and you build from it and you tell that story on social media. You tell the story about your business through your email programming. You tell it on your website. You ladder on PR on top of that, right? You want everybody to be able to describe your business in a consistent way, describe you in a consistent way, that is the result, achieving the result that you want, right? So this is what it takes. So, any other questions on anything we discussed tonight or anything else related to marketing? You guys have my full attention.
I just want to jump on that real quick, Rachel, and just remind everybody that being authentic is your superpower. You don't have to be like Alex Hormozy or Grant Cardone or Gary Vee. I don't think I know enough swear vocabulary to be anything like Gary Vee, but I'm enthralled and I'm intrigued, and he gets me sucked in every time. But be yourself, and that's the where the magic is. And being humble. They all started off, Rachel, you mentioned it, they all started off and they were at a lower place and they've done the reps. But it's that being in touch with and in tune with your roots. Where are your values? What is your mission statement? What is the problem that you're there to solve? If we can just stay true to all of that, the rest of this should come easy. So, just put your work boots on and your work gloves on and be authentic in all of this creation. And I think that's probably one of the best things. If I look at the success of everyone else, that was all of the magic. And that's it. That I got to wrap on that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah, I like that very much. So, if any of you guys, after having this conversation, find yourself thinking, well, I'm not sure what I want to talk about on social media, or I'm not sure what my buckets of content are, then, please let us know, because those are the types of strategic, questions we can help you figure out. Right. I would like to believe that everybody in this group is able to consistently tell a cohesive story about their brand and their business. So that's a win. I want you guys all to be able to look back in a few months and be like, yeah, my business increased because I'm a part of this group. I have more clients. I have more revenue generation, right? I'm offering additional services. I'm doing more things. Yeah, Alex, jump in.
So question with it's, if I can phrase it right, it seems like as quickly as things can go well for you on all the social media, it can also go quickly bad for you in the other direction. Well, from what we've seen over the years. I know that's kind of the further down the road stuff of what we're talking about here, but have you seen or come up with any ways or have ideas on how to, rewrite the ship after something like that happens? Because a lot of times, I mean, it hasn't happened to me yet, but all it takes is one person to misconstrue something you're saying, and it just goes off the deep end, and all of a sudden you're almost trying to start over again, because you've got this horrible black eye that you can't get rid of.
I love that you, oh, am I on mute? No, I'm not. Okay. I love that you called it a black eye, by the way. I was working on the Toyota business back when they had all those problems. Remember when the like brakes weren't working? And it was like the accelerators were getting stuck, right? And we were working on the PR, like crisis management team, and we had to create this whole black eye chart. And we had this big bruised black eye and all these news articles, and we were trying to get a handle on it. It was out of control. And you're like, how do you right the ship? Oh my God, right? Like it's a runaway train. So, I think it doesn't have to be that extreme, right? It can be one bad Yelp review, it can be one bad, Google review, one unhappy customer, that starts all of a sudden turning the conversation away from the way you want it to go. My PR hat comes on right away. There's always a way to handle it. Like people are either like mad or they're fear-based. Like there's some underlying issue that they're not happy. Like you have to address it without pouring more flame on the fire or fire on the flame or gas on the fire. You know what I mean? But you just can't let that momentum go in the other direction. Like you have to step in and own it one way or the other without being defensive. And sometimes that means asking for help from an outside point of view, writing something down and then taking that walk around the neighborhood, right? Or ChatGPT is actually a really nice impartial assistant because they are not emotional about their reaction. So that might be good. Or maybe we can ask Rod what he thinks about it.
Well, I'm gonna hit this from the political side because I have been in politics, and you want to know how to recover from a black eye. How many politicians do we know out there right now that are they're Teflon? No matter what happens, nothing sticks. And so part of it is just knowing and being secure in your mission. And if you screwed up, number one, acknowledge it, admit it, and make amends. Even like Toyota, that you have to acknowledge when you make a mistake. But the other part is you have to stay focused. You have to stay focused on your talking points. So don't let the conversation be hijacked. You have to stay focused on why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah, we made a mistake here. However, you never say but we didn't mean to. It's and we are doing everything to make sure we're focusing on our mission going forward. You have to have your 3 talking points all the time, and you always pivot. It's like fencing. It's parry, parry, thrust. You're going to parry those blows away, and then you're going to thrust with your statements. You're going to start that conversation anew every time. So it doesn't matter what the media is saying. It doesn't matter what a negative review is saying. It's, yes, they said that, and this is why we are doing what we're doing. So always turn it back to your why. And that politicians are great at it. And that's why, we need term limits because they're so good at it. They stay there forever. So, but they know something, and there's something to be learned from that. And I know Jim's on the road right now, out on the campaign trail, and I know he would say the exact same thing. You need to be on your talking points and not let someone else hijack. Hope that helps.
Okay.
Alex,
Yeah.
you got your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, being 20 miles away from Washington, D.C., I can completely agree with you regarding the term limits. But this also goes into the next question I had is I didn't hear, Rachel, you talk anything about Trump's social media platform. And I'm not yay, nay, Trump or anything. I just know after the Twitter fiasco, he started his own thing. But I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about that at all. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on it.
Oh, wow. I'm Switzerland, and I think maybe Rod or Jim should answer this one.
Okay, I'll jump in. Yes, it's another tool in your toolbox. and you know the kind of traffic you're going to get there. Although you're going to have people on the left who are monitoring it and looking for, bait, they're looking for something to attack. But it's another platform. And if your clients are on that platform, it is another place to be. So yes, it's another tool in your toolbox, and absolutely,
That's
I,
kind of
I play in that game.
Yeah, it wasn't whether my thoughts were kind of the same. It was, it's kind of a very directed approach. And again, it's not necessarily like whether I'm pro Trump or not pro Trump. It seems like you could use it, but man, you got to know that it's going to be a direct 4-lane highway to a specific group of people.
Correct.
And can you use that use the powers for good instead of evil? The thought process.
Well, Jim, I know he's not on the call, but he mentioned one of his racing buddies who did just that. He's got his race truck is nothing but Trump 2024. He went in that lane and he went all in. So you can dabble in that lane, and I think that's a safe place because you're still going to garner some support and some customers, clients. But if you're all in, go all in. I don't care what platform it is. You have to believe in what you're doing enough to be willing to make that choice. But at the same,
something in there just so both the right wing and left wing people are going, why the hell is somebody posting about race cars in here? And then everybody be talking about it.
Yeah. Well, and if people are talking about you, isn't that what you want? Right. So just be prepared. Be prepared for it. It would be my sense of that. And again, we're all smart people here, and we all know that we're going to be able to get criticism, and we have to be able to take criticism. So, just figure out what is it worth the trade-off to you, right? If somebody brands you as being, a wacko on either side of the spectrum, just because you're on a certain platform, be prepared for that because it's probably there anyway. Don't let it hold you back. Did that answer the question, Alex? I hope. Okay. Rachel, back to you.
I'm so glad that you took that one, and I'm sorry that I side skated it, but I honestly haven't been on the platform and I'm just not that comfortable. So I'm glad that Rod jumped in on that one. So anyways, all right, Anthony, go ahead.
So I grew up, I'm younger than everyone else here. So I grew up in the social media age where a lot of my followers are people that I went to high school and college and so forth with. And a lot of them, and I have a podcast, and I'm really trying to grow my podcast. But I've noticed that a lot of my engagement comes when I post about my personal business. And a lot of I got like 60 comments on my latest post about my business, but then I'll post a reel about my podcast and maybe get 2. So, but I don't necessarily want to post about my business because I don't want to be like flaunting, and I really want people to watch the podcast because I'm passionate about the podcast, where the business is more like my income, if that makes sense. So how do I decide when and where to post, or like how frequent I should really be posting about my business? Because it gets 30 times more engagement, but how much can I really post about me fixing a lawnmower is the question.
Okay. So it's all right. I don't know what kind of algorithm, like mine is going to be different than yours. Like I'll be scrolling through and I'll be like, it'll give me like tips on like parenting or like tips on like organizing. And then all of a sudden I'll get this video of this guy shirtless in the woods chopping wood. Or like, and then I'll be flipping through and it's like cooking and, laundry. And then it's like this shirtless guy jumping rope. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, where did this come from? But I'm like, all right, this is cool. I can watch him jump rope or cut wood in the forest all day. It's awesome. So all I'm saying is there's always a way to make it interesting. maybe you don't have to be talking in every one. Maybe it's you're using a trending audio. Maybe it's just showing that you're like you do some in slow motion. Maybe you do some in stop motion. Maybe you do some in oh, what's that setting where like it runs really fast?
Time lapse.
Thank you, time lapse. You know, so like there's the best ideas are the ones that there is no end, right? Like there's so many different ways you can show it. You don't have to always be talking about what you're doing. Maybe you are always doing it in a different place or with a different song or something. So I think guys also I was talking to a couple weeks ago who they fix up cars, right? And his most popular video was a picture of him like walking to the dump to throw an old piece of the like car away. And he was like, why do people find that fascinating? I don't know. Why do people love to watch people unbox things they get delivered in the mail from Amazon? They can watch limitless unboxing videos. It's like they're always surprised. Like, and if you're fixing a lawnmower or something, it's like, oh my God, he fixed it. It's a win. And people are cheering you on. Like, he did it. Right. So, you know, I would just keep at it. All right, jump in and we have like 1 minute. Go ahead.
Real quick, I would just say too, if people are watching you're fixing a lawnmower video, point them, you know, piggyback both of those things. Send those people to your podcast. Hey, by the way, if you like the way I fixed this, make sure you're checking out the podcast. You know, you'll find it here. So use that as a tool. If that's where your engagement is, use that to drive them to your other business. You know, there's no rule here. You get to do both. So drive one set of traffic to the other one while you're there.
I like
That's
that
it.
idea.
That was what I was going to say too, is I mean, kind of cross-pollinate in a way.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
Wind up doing some of your posts that you would have on LinkedIn or something like that on Instagram, and kind of, you know, that way you start building the connections from each platform over, and they start connecting the dots on their own.
Taylor, I do like that idea also. Mainly my podcasts are more like me, other people sharing their stories on my podcast. But I guess if I was talking about myself on the podcast, which I don't really, but if I was talking about myself, I could do that as well, which is not a bad idea either. Thank you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And here we are right at 6 o'clock. All right, you guys. Thank you. It was a great night. Hope you have a wonderful week. 2 documents are now on the back end, the YouTube Partner Program Guide, the Digital Account Setup Guide. Those are both on the back end, and the recording tonight will go out to the group shortly. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Rachel. Good night, everybody.